Population explosion in Egypt, a blessing that has become a curse. The population of Egypt increased from 104 million in November 2022 to 105 million in June 2023, according to the Central Agency for Public Mobilization and Statistics (CAPMAS). This represents the growth rate for the country, where the poverty rate is 27.3%. The population increase means that every 245 days, it increases by 1 million, or 3 people per minute. The population density in Egypt has also increased, from 100.1 people per square kilometer, km2, in 2020 to 104.2 people per km2 in 2023. Cairo is the most populous governorate in Egypt, with over 10 million residents, followed by Giza, with 9.5 million residents. The fertility rate in Egypt has been declining in recent years, from 3.5 births per woman in 2014 to 2.85 births per woman in 2021. However, the annual birth rate is still high, at around 2.2 million. If current fertility rates remain stable, Egypt's population will reach 119 million in 2030, and 165 million in 2050. However, if fertility rates fall to 1.6 children per woman by 2042, the population will reach 117 million in 2030, and 139 million in 2050, Dr. Najwa Samak, former head of the economics department at Cairo University, told IPS. The largest proportion of Egypt's population is in the 0 to 15-year-old group, with the older the population, the smaller the proportion. This population structure with more young people and fewer elderly people is called an expanding population structure. This structure means that there are many young people who have to get married and have children when they grow up, which in turn leads to further population expansion. This is the key to the continuous expansion of Egypt's population. The explosive population growth has caused great concern to the Egyptian government. This also starts with Egypt's most basic geographical environment and ecological resources. Egypt is located in northeastern Africa, with a land area of approximately 1 million square kilometers. It may not seem small, but 97% of the country is desert, with an average annual rainfall of only 200 millimeters. Simply put, it means a shortage of water and arable land. Fortunately, Egypt also has the Nile River. About 95% of the population lives along the Nile River, the Nile Delta, and the Suez Canal. Here, it has become one of the most densely populated areas in the world, with an average of 1,540 people per square kilometer. Cairo, the capital city, has become a severely affected area in terms of population. According to official Egyptian statistics, the population of the Greater Cairo region has exceeded 20 million, accounting for more than 1/5 of the total population of Egypt, seriously exceeding the livable warning line of 8 million people. According to documents submitted by Egypt to the United Nations, the country's water resources are only about 60 billion cubic meters per year, almost all of which come from the Nile River. With the continuous expansion of the population, Egypt is estimated to require 114 billion cubic meters of water annually, with a significant gap. What is even more worrying is that the flow of the Nile River is decreasing. Over the past half-century, the flow of the Nile has decreased from 300 cubic meters per second to 2,830 cubic meters. According to the most severe prediction by the United Nations, due to multiple droughts in eastern Africa, the flow of the Nile River may plummet by 70%. The reduction of water resources in the Nile River is bound to intensify the competition for water resources among the upstream countries of the Nile River, which is also a major uncertainty factor in Egypt. In Egypt, the general market price for large pancakes is 1 Egyptian pound, approximately 0.23 yuan, while welfare pancakes subsidized by the government are only priced at 0.05 Egyptian pounds. In recent years, the financial pressure on Egyptian pancake subsidies has been increasing. This is because Egypt imports more than half of its annual wheat needs, with 80% coming from Russia and Ukraine. The continuation of the Russia-Ukraine conflict has led to the soaring international food prices. In addition, the depreciation of the Egyptian currency has led to a sudden increase in Egypt's expenditure on food subsidies. Fortunately, neighboring Gulf tycoons such as Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia pledged $20 billion in aid to alleviate Egypt's food crisis. The most basic necessities of food and clothing are a problem, so don't expect how much financial money will be invested in other fields. The fact is that Egypt's expenditure on education accounts for only 3.8% of its gross domestic product, far below the global average, 4.6%. According to World Bank estimates, from 2016 to 2040, Egypt needs to invest $675.6 billion in infrastructure projects, equivalent to 6.5% of the country's gross domestic product. Currently, Egypt only spends 3.5% of its gross domestic product on infrastructure construction, which is far from meeting demand. With the current global economic downturn, it is not easy for Egypt's fiscal spending to maintain its current status. If the population continues to increase, the average subsidy for each person will decrease. This indicates that Egypt's population expansion has exceeded the capacity of the national economy. Education, healthcare, industry, basic resources and other supporting facilities cannot keep up, and an excessive population will only lead to higher illiteracy and unemployment rates. Samak said that the human element is one of the most important factors in production for any country, and that population growth can be a blessing if it is used to raise production rates and national income. However, in the case of Egypt, the rate of population growth is outpacing the rate of economic growth, putting a strain on the country's resources. Samak said that family planning is crucial, but that the Chinese model of one-child families is not the answer. She said that this model can lead to psychological damage for families and children. She said that the most important thing now is to invest in eliminating illiteracy and improving the standard of living for poor families. This will help to raise awareness of the challenges of population growth and make it possible for families to make informed choices about their reproductive health. Dr. Hussein Abdelaziz, a professor of statistics at Cairo University, said that the Egyptian government aims to reduce the fertility rate from 2.8 to 1.6 children per woman in the coming years. He said that uncontrolled population growth is a major challenge to the state's development efforts and drains the country's resources. Abdulaziz told IPS that the illiteracy of women is one of the main reasons for the high fertility rate in Egypt. He said that there are some villages in Egypt where the illiteracy rate for girls is up to 50%. He called for the empowerment of women through education to address the problem of population growth. Despite the challenges, Abdelaziz finds hope in a number of governorates that have achieved positive indicators of population growth. He cited Port Said and Alexandria, where the fertility rates are 1.8 and 2.1 children per woman, respectively. These rates are equivalent to the reproductive rates in developed countries. Abdulaziz said that the Egyptian government is working to reduce the fertility rate by providing family planning services, improving access to education, and raising awareness of the challenges of population growth.